Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. Well, we have an action-packed show for you today as we have in studio the head football coach of the St. Louis Attack Indoor Football League, Chris McKinney, along with star defensive back from Southeast Missouri State University, Marino Lardge. Plus, veteran NCAA and longtime Chaminade basketball coach Kelvin Lee will be in studio to discuss his career mentoring and coaching NBA stars Bradley Beal and David Lee. So stay with us for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. And welcome to the show. Do you know that we have a very exciting indoor football team here called the Attack? In our first segment today, we've got the head coach, Chris McKinney, and star defensive back, Marino Lardge. Gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, Chris, we'll start off with you. You're your first year now with the St. Louis Attack. Last year they were the St. Louis Monsters. And they brought you in, and you've got to be very excited about how the season started out so far.
Yeah, we've been doing well this far. I'm very excited. The guys have grown and gotten better at each game. First game was a little up and down, but that's things you're going to get with football. The first game is going to be kind of rocky, more penalties, things like that. But every week we've gotten better, and our defense is real strong, and our offense is getting better every week, so it's great. Defense
is definitely a big strength. I wanted to go back a little bit and just lay a little background about you. Mm-hmm. Now, you went to North Carolina State and played some ball up there with some pretty special people, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I played at Guilford College and at North Carolina State with Phillip Rivers and Corn Robinson and Coach Amato. A lot of guys up there that we played with, Adrian Wilson, LeVar Fisher. So there's a lot of good players I played with.
Some big-time names. Talk about Phillip Rivers. That must have been kind of cool, catching touchdown passes from him.
Oh, yeah. He's the best quarterback that I've ever played with, seen, that I've been around. And I played against a lot of good guys. And he was just very smart, always in the film, wasn't into a whole bunch of getting around, goofing off. And that made us a lot better. He had the best arm, the smartest quarterback. And I think that's so important in football. Everybody thinks it's a barbarian sport, but really the intelligent players are the ones that overcome.
And before we get to you, Mariano, what about Corn Robinson? Were you guys similar type players? He might have been a little taller.
Me and Corn are about the same size. He might be about an inch taller. We were both about the same build, about 215. Corn's a great player. He was one of the best receivers I played with. Dynamic punt return and kickoff return guy also. Like most of us, gets ourselves in trouble, but I think he's a great player, one of the greatest I've ever played with, and, you couldn't stop him. In the game, NC State, when he played, we were pretty hard to beat.
Mariano, you went to Southeast Missouri State University,
yes,
so I consider you a local guy.
Yes,
did you play with Bernard Quinn? Was he in your era?
Yes, sir. Actually, we sat next to each other in the locker room.
No kidding.
Yes,
this one or at SEMO?
At SEMO. Yes,
no
sir.
kidding.
Yes, sir.
That's great. So you guys are, I'm not sure if you're a package deal or not, but, tell us your route from high school to SEMO to making the Attack.
From high school, went to Hazelwood Central.
Okay.
Went to state runner-up. In 2004, I graduated. Then continued to go to school from Hazelwood Central to Southeast Missouri State. I finished in 2006. Actually, I've been playing semi-pro from a couple years ago. Won a championship with them, and the defensive coach is the Bulldog coach, St. Louis Bulldog coach.
Okay.
Actually, from semi-pro, we've all moved up to arena football. So now we've been playing this game for a couple years now, and we're doing pretty good this season. Doing real well.
So what's like the ascension? Like, what would be your goal? What would your next aspirations be?
My next inspiration is just trying to get to the next level. Maybe CFL, Germany football, AFL, A1. I don't know. Whatever it takes to get there, I will.
And you're still playing some ball right now.
Yes, sir.
That's
yes,
awesome.
Sir.
And Chris, back over to you. When you played, you actually played in the Arena League, and the owner of the Attack is Andrew Haynes of Missouri Sports Withholdings, and you guys have a past. I understand that you're pretty high up on the leaderboard in some offensive categories.
Oh yeah, and I played for the I played for the Firecats in Florida in the AF2, in arena there, and we were a really good championship team there. Then they turned into the Florida Tarpons, and Andrew was the part owner of the Tarpons team there, and we actually got to the championship and lost to Cincinnati in 2012. And then after that, I coached last year for the Philadelphia Soul in the AFL, and we lost in the championship to Arizona for the second year in a row. So, it's been rough to get to the last game 2-3 seasons in a row and lose. It's a sickening feeling, but it makes you work harder, it makes you want it more, and it makes you correct the mistakes so you don't have that same thing happen again.
And that's pretty cool. So you bring like legitimacy to the team. You've been right there knocking at the door for championships, and you're seventh all time on the touchdown list?
Yes,
that should bring some credibility to your team.
Maybe not to the team, to my career it does a little bit, and how hard that my family, because it wasn't just me, it was my family and my teammates made me who I am and made me be able to reach all those things. Those were great. I love playing. I would love to play again. I'd do it 20 times over if I could.
You look like you can still get out there a little bit. Another thing I like about the team, you got a local flavor. You got guys like Gerard Powell from Kirkwood. How important is it to you to have guys from the local area and then maybe bring in some talent, in free agent signings?
I feel like with having all the guys from around St. Louis, it's competition-wise. We all stick to it, and we all, day by day, are getting better. So it makes it tough for anyone to actually come into our house and dominate us. We've been dominating them.
Yeah, so you guys are doing a great job. Your defense in particular. The last game, TalkSTL.com broadcasted your home games this year, and they pick a player of the game each week, and the last game was a defensive player. You guys, oh my gosh, when other teams get down near your end zone, you guys really toughen up. And maybe you could talk about some of the players that are so important to your team, not only from the St. Louis area, but, just guys on your team in general.
Well, I think that the St. Louis area, especially for our team, has provided us with such great talent. It's a big city, good football, good sports here in St. Louis in the Missouri area. And so I think 99% of our team is from here, and they're local. So they're not only playing for the team, they're playing for the city, they're playing for their families. So they're giving their all when they play. And I just think that our defense, our big guys are what dominate football games. Our offensive line, our defensive line is the most dominant, I think, in the league. We've got Jason Knoll, we've got Bernard Quinn, we've got Big Chuck Henry. Those guys on defense, they wreak havoc. And Big Chuck causes fumbles by the nose guard, by the center. We picked one up 50 yards in the Alabama game for a touchdown. They're on their 1 yard line. When we have a team this past Saturday, I think Georgia was in the red zone inside the 4 yard line 3 times, and they scored no touchdowns. Our defense they're so strong and so nasty up front. You have a hard time moving the ball against us.
Now, you guys have had to make some changes throughout the year. I know in your first game, your quarterback Walsh, he got knocked around pretty silly. I mean, he didn't look too hot. He looked like David Backus a little bit out there running around trying to get up. But what's his status? And you brought in a 6'6", 270-pound quarterback to take his place, and you've been pretty successful.
Mike has been very good. We brought Mike McMullen in after Brandon Walsh got hurt in that first game. He's gone down with concussion symptoms, and they've been ongoing. He's been back and forth to the ER a few times. His dad had to come down here and take care of him. So as a family, we're all praying for Walsh, and he's a soldier. He fought so hard for us. He stayed in the whole game until the last 30 seconds of the game, and I think he had a concussion from the first series.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he had been hit harder than I've ever seen a quarterback be hit in arena football before, and he's still part of our family. We wish him the best, but the step in for him, Mike McMullen has come in, has done well. Got Player of the Week a couple of times. He's only thrown 1 interception to, I think, 9 touchdowns. So he's done a great job taking care of the team and taking care of the offense so we don't have any turnovers.
Now, early on, you had a kicker from the ambush, and he was doing pretty good. But I guess when you make roster changes, things change. Now you've got a defensive lineman, also as a kicker. Mariano, is that pretty wild when you see your offensive lineman out there smooth, making extra points and field goals?
So I actually play on the side that he plays on. So I mean, it's difficult to see your guy. He wants to do what he's doing, but he's got to do another job. But it's always great because you got another guy that's willing to do what he has to do to get a win.
I tell you what, Mike McNeil of the St. Louis Rams, previously in the Carolina Panthers, he was one of the broadcast partners with us at TalkSTL.com, and it was pretty cool having a guy from Kirkwood that went to Nebraska. Coming back, he just gets signed by the Carolina Panthers, and he wants to come out and help us cover your games. And that's pretty cool when you get an NFL player that's interested in arena football. How do you feel about that?
I think that's great. We need the great support from our fan base, local fans and also local stars like himself that come in to help promote us, because that's what we need. We need the local everybody, local stars, the local bus drivers, everything that we can to come support our game and support our team, because we work really hard.
You guys do, and it is so exciting going to your games, guys. I mean, there's people get flying over the boards. I know we got about a minute left real quick. I wanted to touch on a couple of the rules. When you start the game out, it's pretty wild. You start out on your back. So can you give us the rules about the beginning of the game and then the last minute of the game?
Well, instead of a coin toss, what we have is the X dash. So we have both men down with their head on the 20-yard line and eat the ball on each hash on the 25. The whistle blows. They got to turn around, get the ball, and the first one through the end zone, they win the coin toss. Now with that, usually if we win, we defer to the second half, put the offense on the 5-yard line, and we get 2 points for that, for winning the X dash. So it's not only it's like the coin toss, but you also get 2 bonus points for winning the race.
And then at the end of the game, you could be up by 12 points with less than a minute left, but if their defense or they score, they get double points, so you could actually, you could actually lose that game.
That's right. It's double the points at the end of the game. Under a minute in our league, you get double the points. So if they score a touchdown, they're down by 12. Now they've tied the game. They kick an extra point. That's 13. So I try to control the clock in the fourth quarter at the end. If it's under a minute, I'll run it down to 10 seconds if I need to, so nobody can score double points against us.
Marino, thanks a lot for joining us. Really appreciate it. Coach?
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure. We'll talk to you on our radio show as well. And stick around. Inside Sports will be right back.
I like playing football, and anytime I can get a chance to play, I want to play.
So talk about your past now. You came up as a baseball player.
I did. I played with the Giants and the Minnesota Twins. Made it as high as AAA. I was in AAA for 4 years, and then I ended up playing football. Who knew?
How you doing, DeAndre?
Hey, I'm all right, yourself.
All right, man. So you've been playing indoor football and outdoor football for a while now, huh?
Yeah.
Talk about before you came to the Attack.
Before I came to the Attack, they're playing semi-pro outdoor football, kick return, punt return, cornerback, wide receiver. Defensive player, offensive player of the year last year, just trying to live my dream. That's all it is.
Now, you're one of the highest scoring players in the X League this year. You're very, very fast, and you're having a great time. What do you attribute all that to?
I really contribute it all to my teammates and the hard work we went through in the training camp in the off-season. Working during the off-season really paying off right now.
And the St. Louis Attack is now having tryouts for the 2015 season. If you think you can play indoor football, then go to the Attack website at www.stlouisattack.com.
Hey, I'm DeAndre Jackson, and you're watching STL TV. #1, St. Louis Attack, baby.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. Stop the texts. Stop the wrecks. Visit us at stoptextsstopwrecks.org.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie. Brown bagging lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feedthepig.org.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero ir. Danny, no lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs. Just keeping it real.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org. Cracked up a secret
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book could be the most thing that helps to change a life. Book people unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
We don't win unless we work together. It's how we play our best. It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know. The more people who know, the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans.
These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids.
Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
And welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is a man who was the head basketball coach at Chaminade for many, many years, grooming the likes of NBA All-Stars David Lee, Bradley Beal. Well, Coach Lee, welcome to Inside Sports.
Hey, thanks for having me. I consider it a blessing to be here.
Kelvin Lee, wow, you've been around the basketball circuit for a long, long time now.
Yes, I have.
I remember we were back in, you coached at Baylor, A&M. And I know St. Louis University was a fun stop-off for you, wasn't it?
No doubt. It's been a great journey for me. And like I said, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be around some great coaches and some great players as well. You know, starting at Baylor University, being with Gene Iba. The Iba influence on my life has been a great influence. And then with Charlie Spoonhour at St. Louis University. Again, he was one of the best people that I've ever been around. You know, he's just a great guy.
Now, Hank Iba was one of the all-time great basketball coaches ever. Was that his son?
His nephew.
His nephew, okay.
Yeah.
The bloodlines going there.
Yeah, I got a story about that. Hank used to come by practices at Baylor, and I first met him as a player at Houston Baptist University for Gene. And he came to our practice, and we got a chance to meet him because we all know him as that great Olympic coach, the rip-off by the Russians, the biggest rip-off in Olympic history.
It was the 72 Olympics.
Yeah, the 72 Olympics. But when I was an assistant at Baylor for Gene, there comes Hank to practice again because I was wondering, why is he coming by our practices? I didn't know he was critiquing practice. That's what he was doing for Gene. And then after practice, we'd go up in a room and he would let Gene have it, and let him know what he was doing wrong. But after practice one day, Hank Iba walked up to me. He says, he had that hoarse voice and he carried a golf club around. He says, Kelvin, one day you're going to become a head coach. And when you do, you hire some great assistant coaches and make them do all the work. He was pretty funny about that. Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, he was a great man.
So then you moved on and coached with Charlie Spoonhour at St. Louis University. That must have been really exciting.
It was great. Like I said, again, one of the best people that I've ever been around. We had a lot of fun. Of course, he can make you laugh a little bit. He was like a comedian. Every day we laughed. But again, at the same time, he was a genius on the basketball court. Very smart. And I learned a lot from him.
You guys had some good teams there. I mean, a lot of local guys like Scott Highmark, and then you had, I remember H. Waldman out of Nevada.
Right.
And that team made the tournament and had some great success.
Yeah, we made the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row. And we lost to Minnesota our first year, and they had a pretty good team. Clem Haskins was coaching then. The next year we went back, and we had a little bit more experience on our belt. But unfortunately, we ran into a great player by the name of Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
Forest, yes. So we ran into him, and that was a good game. We were very competitive. We had it right. Where we won, it was a close game. But at the same time, Tim Duncan took over the game late. That's why he's a pro.
Well, marquee guys like that, he's one of the best pros there is in the nation.
Sure.
And you obviously actually had the opportunity to coach some big-time NBA players as well when they were in high school. How did you end up from St. Louis University to Chaminade?
Well, things, again, I left St. Louis University, and I took a position at Texas A&M.
Oh, okay.
As an assistant with Tony Maroney. Things didn't work out there, so my wife and I decided to move back to St. Louis, and that's when I came across Chaminade. And they hired me, and I spent 16 great years there. And I was blessed to have some parents that trusted me with their kids. And they come in as sixth graders and freshmen. And again, the likes of David Lee showed up as a freshman, and Gary Lee, his father, and Susan, his mom. Again, great people. But again, he left John Burroughs, and he came to Chaminade, and I was very happy about that. But again, he came as a freshman, and then watching these kids grow. And that's the beauty of coaching, watching them come in as freshmen or whatever it might be, and each year getting better. And that's how you succeed at the next level. Every year I tell kids, you have to get better every year. And each one of these guys have done, including Bradley Beal, did a great job of getting better every year, and it's a work ethic.
Certainly a big spike in the Chaminade basketball tradition when you took over, and 16 years there, that's a long time.
Yes, sir.
How do you get a guy like David Lee and Bradley Beal? I mean, what do you tell them to separate you from all the other schools? Because there's some tough competition in that Catholic conference.
Well, you know, my background as a college coach helped. You know what I mean? Because they had a funny feeling that I knew what I was doing basketball-wise and how you treat people. And I try to treat people fairly. And I think I learned that from Charlie Spoonheart. He's one of the best people and how to treat people. And from the first player who's getting all the minutes, scoring all the points, to the last guy on the bench, the end of the guy on the end of the bench, who may not be as happy, but you got to treat him fairly as well. So I think I've learned that over the years. How you treat people carry you a long ways in life. And people see that, and I think they want their kids to play for me.
I've seen David Lee out and about in restaurants, different places around town. Very classy guy. Keeps his roots here. I mean, he keeps his, his family, and it seems like he never forgets his St. Louis experience.
David has done a great job of, he remembers who he is. He never forget where he came from. His friends at Chaminade, he stayed very loyal to those guys. And there's only a select few of his friends, Kyle Snekoki, all these guys, Mike Marino, and all these guys that he stuck with. He takes them on a trip every year. He takes them to the Bahamas, and he pays for the whole trip. But he does that once a year, and he takes care of his friends, that says a lot about him.
Oh, yeah, and Bradley Beal, when he was going through Chaminade, it was like a circus. I mean, that place was packed all the time.
Yes, it was.
He had scouts across the nation. How awesome was that to get to coach him in high school for a couple of years? Because these guys go to college, they're one and out.
Exactly.
Some of them.
It was a pleasure. It was great. Again, I always tell people I had the best seat in the country for about 4 years with both those guys. And the mark of a great player is when they do something in practice and you say, how did he do that? And each one of these guys had that ability. They dunk it or they do something real flashy. I'm like, wow. And I remember going to SLU's team camp, David Lee's sophomore year, and Lorenzo Romar was the head coach at the time. David gets a rebound, makes an outlet. And he was one of those players that out loud, he gets a rebound, so he started fast break. He was 6'9", but he was a little guard. So he puts it on the floor, and a little guard cuts in front of him and tries to steal it. He took one bounce and wrapped it around with a wraparound pass, the full length of the court to Graham Bailey for a layup.
Wow.
And then Lorenzo comes up to me after that game. He says, Kelvin, that's Larry Bird-like.
Who's the best player you coached? Was it Larry Hughes, Bradley Beal?
That's a great
David
question.
Lee?
That's a great question. And Jason Tatum, I coached him as a freshman as well. But all of them, they brought something different to the table. David was an inside player. Bradley was a guard. And Jason's a combo, inside, outside. But again, as far as shooting the ball and scoring, I had to go with Bradley Beal.
Now, at some point, I guess your tenure at Chaminade came to an end after 16 years. Things change. I mean, Bob McCormick is a CBC forever. You're at Chaminade forever. What happened with Chaminade?
I had a great run at Chaminade, and I was fortunate and blessed that Tom Fiala, who's at Priory now, and Jim Gerker, who's the principal, gave me an opportunity to coach at the school. And I had a great run. If I look back on it, I wouldn't do it differently. But again, like I said, things come to an end. I had to move forward. I'm very excited. I think my first year was very exciting, very challenging. Had a great team. Had some very good guards. Marcel Lee, James Johnson, and Rashad Jordan did a great job of showing that senior leadership that I needed. We won 19 games. I think that's enough for my first year. And then we ended up winning our last 10. And we lost to a very good Jennings in the district championship game. I was voted Coach of the Year in the public eye. and I think that's a good honor for my first year. But at the same time, I want to give a shout out to Tony Irons at Madison Prep. They won the league, and they went on the state championship. But again, in my eyes, in my mind, I see him as being coach of the year. But the coaches voted me. They voted for it. I'll take it.
And I got one question before I let you go. It's
Yes,
a
sir.
double-edged question. Should freshmen be able to leave the NBA after 1 year when they're 21?
You know what? That's a great question, but I feel like if a kid can better himself, and again, they do it all the time in golf. These kids are coming out of high school playing golf, but I think if a kid can, get a job as an NBA player right out of high school, I think he should. 1 year and done, yes, because that's a lot of money that they're making. There's getting a case in point, Bradley Beal. He was weighing back and forth. Should he go back to Florida or should he come out? He was going to be a top 5 pick.
How can you not do it?
You gotta,
Blaine Gabbert did it. He
yes,
got
sir.
$11
That's a
million
no-brainer
off
to
that.
me. You got to go.
Yeah. The last thing is, can you recruit? This colleges are the DeSmets and the Catholic schools and CBCs. They all can recruit. Can you recruit?
That's a bad word.
No?
I'm just kidding. But again, legally you can then. That's why we have our camps. We try to get kids. That's the way I did it at Chaminade. I invite kids to camp, and then we recognize the quote-unquote best players at camp, and we zero in on those kids. But again, legally, yes, but illegally, no.
All right. Well, Coach Lee, thank you very much. It's been an honor having you here in Inside Sports.
Hey, thanks, Todd. I appreciate it.
All right, folks. Well, that's our show for today. We'd especially like to thank our studio guests for coming, and thank you for watching. I'm Todd Blackstock. Thanks for watching Inside Sports. We'll see you next time.